You were not born to be broke. That feeling deep in your chest, the ache when you see someone living the life you dream of, that is not envy. That is a divine whisper, a call from the wealth already coded inside you. But you've been taught to silence it, conditioned to believe that wealth is for the chosen few, that money is evil, that success demands betrayal. Lies. All of it. Because here's the truth they never taught you in school. You were programmed, from the moment you could speak, programmed to obey, programmed to survive, not thrive, to fit into systems designed to keep you average. And until you learn to rewire your mind, you will keep replaying the same story. Same job, same bank account, same broken dreams, a cycle of scarcity wrapped in the illusion of safety. But I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to wake you up. You don't need more hustle. You don't need another side hustle. You need to tear down the operating system inside your head. Because every dollar you haven't earned, every opportunity you missed, every breakthrough you sabotaged, wasn't because of your potential. It was because of your programming. Look around you. The richest men in history didn't start with more. Carnegie was a penniless immigrant. Ford worked as a machinist with no formal education. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking creativity. Oprah was told she'd never be on television. Edison failed 10,000 times. And Hill, Napoleon Hill, spent 25 years chasing the secrets of success before a single word ever hit the page. So what separated them from the masses? Belief. Not a soft belief, not a maybe it'll work, but a hardwired, defiant, burning conviction that refused to shut up. They rewired their minds until their thoughts became blueprints, until their visions became commands to the universe. And that is the first rule of wealth. Wealth begins in the mind. If your mind is wired for doubt, you will never receive abundance. If your mind is wired for survival, you will never build empires. Because you will only chase what your nervous system believes you deserve. And if your self-image is still trapped in the past, in poverty, in pain, in shame, then no amount of work will matter. You'll build, but it won't last. You'll win, then sabotage. You'll climb, then retreat. Until you do the one thing most people never do, upgrade the blueprint inside your brain. You must understand something. Your thoughts are not random. They are repetitions, patterns, electrical loops etched into your brain by years of conditioning. The words your father said, the silence your mother gave, the teacher who laughed when you spoke of dreams, the paycheck that was just enough to kill your ambition. All of it carved neural roads inside your mind. And now, those roads are highways. You travel them daily. Thoughts like, it's too late. I'm not good with money. People like me don't get rich. What if I fail? Lies, every one of them. But you believe them because they're familiar. And the brain loves familiarity more than it loves freedom. But wealth does not live in the familiar. Wealth lives in the unknown. It lives in the leap, in the moment you dare to think differently, in the second you choose to expect more from life than just getting by. And here's where most people fail. They try to change their lives without changing their thoughts. They chase strategy before rewiring identity. They set goals, but never reprogram the belief system holding the steering wheel. That's like planting seeds in poisoned soil and wondering why nothing grows. You want wealth? You want freedom? You want to break generational chains? Then you have one job now. Start thinking like a wealthy person, long before you see a single dollar. Because that's what they all did. Hill called it the definiteness of purpose. Others call it faith. Call it what you want, but it is the singular mindset that turns ordinary men into legends. You must believe before you see. You must act before you feel ready. You must think from the vision, not of the vision. Because the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's repeated. So if you repeat poverty, it will become your prison. But if you repeat wealth, vision, clarity, power, it will bend your reality to match. And this is not theory. This is law. Of course, here's the continuation of the seamless cinematic script for Rewire Your Mind for Wealth or Stay Broke Forever. Continuing from where we left off, no summaries, no intros, no fluff. The subconscious is your silent partner. It doesn't argue, it doesn't judge, it simply receives, obeys, delivers. So what are you feeding it? You say, I want to be rich, but you constantly speak of lack. You dream of success but rehearse failure in your imagination. You post affirmations, but your inner monologue is pure sabotage. You can't lie to the mirror of your own mind. Because the subconscious listens not to what you say once, but what you whisper 1,000 times a day when no one is watching. That's why repetition is the mother of all wealth. Because it's not enough to think differently once. You must install new patterns like steel beams into your foundation. And that takes radical repetition, discipline, awareness so sharp it slices through every inherited lie. They don't beg for opportunity, they become opportunity. They don't chase money, they align themselves with it. They speak a different language. They think in terms of expansion, not survival. They invest in things the average mind can't even comprehend: belief systems, networks, momentum, time. Because they know that wealth is not a product of hours. It's a product of alignment. If you want to know how someone truly thinks, look at how they spend their time and their thoughts, not their money. A poor man thinks in minutes. A wealthy man thinks in decades. One sees price. The other sees value. One waits for permission. The other moves as if success is already decided. That's the shift. And it doesn't begin in your job. It doesn't begin in your bank account. It begins in your inner world. The truth is, the average person is broke because they are mentally loyal to their limitations. They protect their excuses like precious family heirlooms. They defend their trauma like it's a birthright. They trade possibilities for the comfort of victimhood. And the irony? They want abundance, but refuse to release the scarcity that makes them feel safe. But you are not average. You wouldn't be listening if you were. There's something inside you that knows you're made for more. That feels insulted by mediocrity. That feels rage when you settle for crumbs. Honor that fire. Because that fire, that discomfort, that restlessness, that's your higher self trying to burn the old programming to the ground. That's the part of you that remembers the truth, that you were never meant to just exist. You were born to build, to lead, to shine so unapologetically that the small thinkers retreat into the shadows. But before the world sees it, you must see it. That is the secret behind every great wealth story. Henry Ford didn't ask if the world was ready for automobiles. He saw it in his mind first. Disney didn't ask if cartoons would work. He imagined worlds no one else could see. Edison didn't wait for applause. He failed over and over with a vision so real it couldn't be destroyed by reality. They lived the dream inside long before it appeared outside. That's the process. That's the rewiring. It is not magic. It is not manifesting without movement. So, it is training your nervous system to normalize greatness. You must make success feel familiar. You must make money feel safe. You must make abundance your new home. And that's where most people fail, not because they don't work hard, but because they are emotionally allergic to receiving more. Their identity is tied to struggle. They know how to suffer, but they don't know how to shine. So when blessings come, they shrink. When opportunity knocks, they ghost it. When wealth whispers, they drown it out with fear and guilt and doubt. But not you. Not anymore. Because today, you cut the cord. Today, you draw the line in the sand between the old you and the next you. Today, you declare a new mental contract. I will no longer speak like I'm broke. I will no longer think like I'm cursed. I will no longer act like I'm powerless. I will no longer dim my fire to make average people feel comfortable. From this day forward, my mind is mine. and I will shape it into a fortress of clarity, discipline, wealth, and unstoppable vision. The greatest war you will ever fight is not out there, not in the marketplace, not against your competitors, not in the economy. The war is within, between the version of you that was programmed to survive and the version of you that was born to thrive. Most people lose this war without ever knowing they were at battle. They walk around in suits of fear, carrying shields of doubt, swinging swords made of other people's opinions, and they wonder why their dreams bleed to death. But you're waking up. You're beginning to feel the weight of all the lies that have been handed down to you. Lies like, money is evil. Stay humble. Don't want too much. People like us don't get rich. Play it safe. Be realistic. Dream smaller. No. Rip those thoughts out like weeds. Burn them at the roots. Because until you change the story, you will never change the ending. Your story must evolve. From poverty as my legacy, to wealth as my birthright. From I was never meant to lead, to I was born to command empires. From life is against me, to I am the author of this life. Because the most dangerous form of poverty is not in your wallet, it's in your identity. You will never rise above the person you believe you are. So look in the mirror and ask yourself, who am I becoming? Not who you've been. Not what they called you. Not the labels, the failures, the past. No. Who are you becoming? And more importantly, what does that version of you believe? Because wealth is not something you chase. It is something you become aligned with. It is a frequency, a vibration, a mental state that must be earned, not through hustle alone, but through identity transformation. The mind that built the prison cannot build the palace. You must upgrade the architect within. Let's talk plainly. You want wealth? Then make your inner world too expensive for doubt to live in. Make your thoughts too rare for excuses to survive in. Make your habits too elite for mediocrity to keep up with. You've got to want it so deeply that your entire nervous system gets rewired for expectation, not hope. For action, not hesitation. For certainty, not desperation. That is when the game changes. That is when life bends. Because once your thoughts shift, your behavior shifts. Once your behavior shifts, your results shift. Once your results shift, your identity is reborn. And once your identity is reborn, you become unrecognizable to the old version of you. You stop relating to lack. You stop negotiating with your past. You stop explaining your dreams to people still trapped in survival mode. You stop playing defense and start building legacy. Look, anyone can make money, but not everyone can hold it. Not everyone can become a vessel for abundance. Not everyone has the mindset to multiply. Because multiplication requires foundation. It requires systems. And systems are built from beliefs. You want to attract wealth? Then stop thinking like an employee of your past pain and start thinking like the CEO of your future empire. This means you'll have to say no to comfort, no to average conversations, no to people who drain you, no to the old life that fit you when you were small, and yes, to long nights. Yes, to delayed gratification. Yes, to reading what others ignore. Yes, to surrounding yourself with people who would rather be uncomfortable now than regretful forever. You see, the rich are not lucky. They are wired differently. And that wiring is available to you if you're willing to pay the price. Not in money, but in mental transformation, in emotional sobriety, in radical ownership. They didn't wait for someone to save them. They became their own rescue mission. So the question is no longer, can I become wealthy? The real question is, will I become the person who can handle the weight of wealth? Because money will amplify whoever you are. If you are insecure, it will magnify that. If you are powerful, it will multiply your influence. Wealth is not the destination, it is the reflection. And your outer world will always echo the structure of your inner world. You must treat your mind like sacred territory. Guard it like a king guards his kingdom, because every thought is a seed and the harvest is inevitable. If you allow poverty thinking to plant roots, don't be surprised when scarcity grows like weeds through your life. But when you flood your mind with wealth, not just money, but wealth of thought, wealth of vision, wealth of faith, then prosperity becomes inevitable. Not a miracle, not a stroke of luck, inevitable. Because what you repeat, you believe. And what you believe, you become. And what you become, the world reflects back to you. So ask yourself now, what am I rehearsing? Every single day, what inner script am I memorizing? Because you are always in rehearsal. Rehearsing doubt, or rehearsing destiny, rehearsing failure, or rehearsing fortune. The universe is not confused. You are either available for growth or loyal to your limitations. You want to know why most people stay broke? Because they refuse to unlearn. They hold on to old beliefs like a child clinging to a broken toy. They say, "This is who I am." But it's not who they are. It's who they were taught to be. You are not your family's fears. You are not your culture's ceiling. You are not the scars of your past. You are not your bank account. You are not your trauma. You are what you choose to become when you finally stop identifying with struggle. Let that sink in, because until you unlearn what broke you, you'll never become who can build you. You must extract the lies from your soul like thorns from the skin. And this work, this rewiring, it's not always beautiful. It's not always Instagrammable. It's not loud. It's not sexy. It's sitting alone in silence. It's questioning everything you've been taught. It's breaking generational chains with no applause. It's deciding in the quiet that you will not pass poverty down to your children, not in money, not in mindset, not in memory. You want a breakthrough? Then you better learn how to suffer on purpose. Because wealth demands a level of delayed gratification most people cannot stomach. It's waking up earlier than your excuses. It's showing up when motivation disappears. It's saying no when everything in you wants comfort. It's listening to your vision when your results look like failure. And it's not punishment. It's not cruelty. It's the initiation. Every wealthy person was forged in this fire. The fire of being misunderstood, of walking alone, of sacrificing weekends, of outgrowing relationships, of trusting an invisible blueprint so vividly it felt more real than the struggle in front of them. And that's what you must do. See with inner vision before you walk with outer eyes. Because there will be days when no one claps, no one believes, no one sees what you see. And that's when you build it anyway. You must become the kind of person that wealth is drawn to. Not a beggar, not a wisher, but a magnet, because wealth is energy, and your frequency either attracts it or repels it. You can't attract prosperity from a place of panic. You can't draw abundance from a heart filled with fear. You must raise your vibration to match your vision. You must align your habits with your identity. You must show up every single day as if success is inevitable, because to a rewired mind it is. This isn't arrogance. This is ownership. When Napoleon Hill said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve," he wasn't talking to your ego. He was speaking to the divine part of you, the part that already knows. The part that's been buried under shame, under failure, under years of noise and distraction and regret. And now is your time to excavate it, to dig up the buried version of you, the one that believes in miracles, the one that doesn't flinch when staring at a mountain, the one that wakes up already in motion. That version is not a fantasy. It's the original you before the world told you who to be. So no more playing small. No more waiting. No more trying to convince others of your worth. Prove it to yourself. Then make the world adjust. Discipline is the doorway. Not motivation. Not inspiration. Discipline. Because motivation is a mood, it comes and goes like their weather. But discipline? Discipline is a decision that outlives your feelings. The wealthy are not always inspired. They're not always excited, but they're always committed because they understand a universal truth. The results don't care how you feel. The rewards only respect how you act. You think the builders of empires waited to feel ready? You think Carnegie felt brave every day? You think Edison was energized every time he failed forward? No, they showed up when it was raining. They showed up when they were broke. They showed up when no one clapped. They showed up when the world called them delusional. That's the mindset you must wire into your bones. I show up no matter what, no matter the noise, no matter the resistance, no matter who watches or who walks away. Because when you rewire your mind for wealth, you begin to realize something most people never grasp. Success is not something you chase. It's something you become. Now let's talk about vision. Not goals, not resolutions, not hopes. Vision. A clear, unshakable picture of your future. A lighthouse that never moves. A blueprint so detailed you can feel it, touch it, taste it before it exists. This is where 99% of people fail. They move without vision. They confuse busyness with purpose. They react to life instead of building it. But those who build wealth, they see it first. Before a dollar enters their hand, before a name enters the world's mouth, they already own it in their mind. Because wealth starts in the unseen, it begins in the invisible realm of belief, clarity, and mental architecture. So let me ask you, do you know what you want? Really want? Not just more money or more freedom. That's vague. That's noise. That's not vision. What's the number? What does your day look like when you're free? Where do you live? How do you feel when you wake up? What kind of energy surrounds you? What problems do you solve? What legacy are you writing into the hearts of your bloodline? Because if you don't have answers, the world will write one for you. And you'll find yourself stuck in a life built on someone else's vision. Clarity is wealth. And with clarity comes power. And with power comes responsibility. Once you see the vision, your only job is to align with it. Your habits, your friends, your schedule, your self-talk, everything must match that future. You can't have a millionaire vision and a minimum wage mindset. You can't dream of legacy and gossip about mediocrity. You can't ask for abundance while clinging to scarcity-based behavior. Your alignment must be total. And when it is, the world starts moving in strange ways. People appear, doors open. Opportunities chase you down because energy recognizes energy. And when you operate as your future self, you collapse time. What was supposed to take 10 years can take 2. What felt impossible becomes inevitable. Not because the world changed, but because you did. And here's the paradox of wealth. It only multiplies when you are grateful for what you already have. Gratitude is not weakness. Gratitude is fuel. It is the vibrational language of abundance. It tells the universe, I recognize what I have. I'm ready for more. Poor minds resent what they don't have. Rich minds celebrate what they do and build from there. So if you want more, start by appreciating now. Speak wealth over your life. Bless your home, even if it's small. Thank your body, even if it's tired. Honor your journey, even if it's painful. Because gratitude is the proof that you've transcended survival mode. And until you're grateful for the little, you will never hold the much. This is the mental software of the wealthy. Discipline, vision, clarity, gratitude, alignment. This is how you rewire your mind. Not overnight, not once and done, but daily, relentlessly, viciously, with sacred fire. You are no longer allowed to drift. You are no longer allowed to wait and see. You are no longer allowed to water yourself down so others can digest you. You are here to lead your life with precision. And those who lead with precision build wealth that doesn't break when the wind blows. Let's get one thing straight. You will be tested. This journey, this path to wealth, it is not smooth. It is not safe. It is not for the faint of heart. You will lose people. You will lose comfort. You will lose the version of yourself that wanted to stay liked more than it wanted to be legendary. But that loss is your gain. Because the price of transformation is letting go of the old you, the one who needed approval, the one who apologized for wanting more, the one who made excuses every time life asked for greatness. You will suffer, not because the universe is cruel, but because it's purifying you. It's stripping off the softness, burning away the mental fat, carving discipline into your character like fire carves iron into steel. That's what wealth demands. Resilience. Not the kind you post about. Not the kind you fake when the camera's on. But the kind that grows in silence, in darkness, in isolation. When no one is watching, and you keep going anyway. You want to know who wins? The one who can take the punch and keep swinging. The one who builds when the money runs out. The one who shows up when the motivation dies. The one who acts rich when the world calls him broke. That's power. Not a Lambo, not a mansion, not a Rolex. Power is being undisturbed in chaos, unshakable when the storms come, unmoved when failure knocks. The rich are not those who never fell. They are those who got up faster than the fall tried to define them. Do you hear me? Every empire you admire was built on the ruins of setbacks. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. And Howard Schultz was rejected by over 200 investors before Starbucks. Thomas Edison failed more times than most people have tried. Colonel Sanders heard 1,009 no's before someone tasted his chicken. And what do all of them have in common? Resilience, mental toughness, a refusal to surrender. Not because they were smarter, but because they were too convicted to quit. And that's the mind you must install. Not a mind that flinches, but a mind that forges. You want wealth? Then you better learn how to walk through fire without waiting for applause. Because no one will understand at first. They'll laugh. They'll doubt you. They'll say you've changed. And they'll be right. You have changed. You've upgraded from excuses to execution, from waiting to working, from comfort to conquest. And that version of you? The one building in silence, grinding in shadows, holding the vision even when it hurts. That version will not be denied. That version becomes dangerous because they've tasted failure and kept moving. Because they've lost everything and rebuilt stronger. Because they've been forgotten and still chose to remember who they are. You are not a victim. You are not a statistic. You are not broken. You are in training. That pain is your gym. That loss is your classroom. That silence is your sanctuary. And in the furnace of your current struggle, you are becoming unbreakable. So stop complaining. Start calibrating. Refuse to retreat. You are not here to merely survive. You are here to build a reality so powerful it reverses your family's story. You are here to break curses. You are here to write a new chapter. You are here to make wealth feel normal in your bloodline. And it begins with resilience. They will ask you how you did it, and you'll smile. Because they'll never understand how many nights you wrestled with doubt and still chose belief. How many mornings you woke up tired but still laced up your boots. How many times you could have quit, but chose to bet on yourself instead. That is wealth. Not the money, not the cars, but the inner man, the inner woman. Built brick by brick in silence, while the world slept. Now listen closely, because this part will separate you from almost everyone you know. The wealthy never stop learning. The rich are not rich because they know everything. They are rich because they know they don't, because they are obsessed with growth, because they are addicted to feedback, because they have trained their egos to sit down and listen, while average minds chase validation, not wisdom. Most people would rather look smart than become wise. They defend their ignorance like it's sacred. They avoid discomfort like it's poison. They get offended when they should be evolving. But the mind that creates wealth, that mind is a student for life. It reads, it listens, it observes, it adapts. It isn't threatened by new information, it's hungry for it. It doesn't resist correction, it absorbs it. Because wealth is not just about money, it's about mental flexibility. Your ability to change, to upgrade, to pivot, to take a truth that once served you and replace it when it no longer aligns with your next level. Adaptability is the hidden asset of every wealthy person you admire. The economy shifts, they adapt. Technology evolves, they evolve. The world crumbles, they don't panic, they pivot. And do you know why? Because they never married the method, only the mission. They're not loyal to how it used to work. They're loyal to making it work, no matter what. That is the edge. That is the difference. Poor minds get nostalgic. Rich minds get innovative. One clings to the past. The other sculpts the future. Which one are you? Are you adjusting to thrive or anchored in how things used to be? Because here's the harsh truth. Life does not reward the rigid. Life rewards the aware, the humble, the teachable, the ones who stay a student, even when they're leading. And that brings us to the next law. Humility is power. Not the weak kind of humility. Not the let me shrink to make others comfortable kind. But the unshakable humility that comes from knowing who you are and still choosing to grow. It's the humility of a mind that doesn't flinch when proven wrong.